Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your fairy godmother, and today I'm going to show you guys step by step on how to make a scallop neckline. For today's dress, I constructed the pattern based on armhole princess style line and A-line skirt pattern. Anyways, let's get into the tutorial. So the neckline I'm going to make today is a scallop V neckline, which is a combination of V neck with the curved shell-like edges of a scallop design, which I'm going to extend to the center front till the waistline of the dress. First, extend 1 inch out from the center front line for the buttons and add another ½ inch extra allowance for stitching, which I'm going to add later. Now I'm only taking 1 inch, but you can add the ½ inch allowance now if you want to. After marking 1 inch, you can draw a straight line parallel to the center front line. For the width of the neckline, I'm taking 3 1/4 inches and 5½ inches for the depth of V neckline. Now keep in mind to take both the width and depth of neckline measurement from the original center front line, but when you are drawing the line, make sure you cross the center front line and to the extended line. Wherever the line falls is your new measurement for the neckline depth. Now for the scallop design, take any circular object or a geometrical compass according to your desired measurement. I'm using this 2 inches radius nail polish remover case, which is easy to find in every household, and for me it is perfect measurement for scallop design. What I'm going to do next is place this case in between the intersecting line of center front and V neckline. You don't have to take any measurements, just make sure the circle touches both the lines while tracing it. To act as a guideline for the next circle, make sure you trace the whole circle or at least half of it. After tracing it, this is how the circle would look like. Now to move on to the next circle, make sure both the circular lines touches each other and also the straight line of the neckline. And move on to the next and to the next following the same instruction. Quick information here, I made a slight change on the scallop design later in the video. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can skip ahead a little bit. I did not like the white gaps in between the circles, so I overlapped each other by 1/8. But no worries, you can make changes later or you can just leave it as it is. But even if you make the changes, it will not affect any other measurement instructions. This is the very reason I'm drawing the scallop design on paper first, because there is always room for improvement on paper, and also I can do and redo measurements as much as I want until the desired measurement is met. I'm done with the circles. Next, take 1 inch and mark inside the neckline and draw a parallel line along with it. This is a rough guideline to show how the scallop design will look like. Now the pattern is done. I'm going to cut it out, but I'm not going to cut along the circles, I'm just cutting it straight. Alright, I'm done with the patterns. Now let's jump right into the scallop neck. Okay, this is very important part of making scallop neckline. You need to use this fusible interfacing material to prevent sagging at the curved edges and to stabilize its shape. All you need to do is repeat all the process of measuring and making scallop design onto the interfacing material, which I showed earlier on paper. After that, trace out all the pattern onto the dress fabric and cut it out. Keep in mind, if you have not added stitching allowance onto the neckline and center front line, now is the right time to add at least ½ inch allowance onto the dress fabric. Okay, here comes the part where I made a slight adjustment in the placement of the circles. Like I said, I wanted the gaps between the curved edges to be a little bit closer to each other, so I overlapped the circles by 1/8 inch. But do not move the circle in the middle one, which is placed in between the center front and neckline. Now that I'm satisfied with the new adjustment, I'm going to go ahead and cut the interfacing material following the curved edges. After cutting this fabric, I'm going to go ahead and place it on the lining of the dress like this. This fabric has this glossy side which should always be faced with the inside of a lining or the inside of a dress fabric. This glossy side has a glue in it which sticks to the dress fabric when heated by the press iron. One thing to remind you all, make sure the lines of the curved edges touches the intersecting line of the center front and neckline. Once you have done that, you can follow the rest of the center front line and the neckline with the curved edges. After placing the interfacing in its position, you need to first secure it with the pins to make sure it does not move outside of any line. Leave a gap in between the pins for the iron to be placed to glue the interfacing and the dress fabric. I'm going to show you how. Like I said, I'm going to first place the iron in between the pins to temporarily hold the two fabric together. Once the interfacing sticks to the dress fabric, remove the pins, then go ahead and press the whole thing. Make sure you give enough heat for the glue to stick to the fabric nicely. Once you are done with ironing, this is how it should look like. The interfacing is firmly stuck to the lining of the dress. Next, I'm going to take the outermost layer of the dress fabric with its right side facing the right side of the lining, which means the fusible interfacing which you just cut out and pasted on the lining fabric should face outside or opposite of the right side of the main dress fabric, or it should face you. After that, use the pins to hold the fabric together and then stitch along the curves of the scallop design. For this particular design, you need to set your machine to a shorter length stitch. Usually I stitch at number 3, but for this one, you might need to set it at number 2. The shorter the stitching length, the better control you will have. Now you can start stitching following the curvy lines slowly and patiently. Alright, I'm done with the stitching. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess fabric and leave around 1 cm seam allowance. Next, I'm going to clip the fabric in between the curves closer to the stitching line to help the scallops turn right side out properly and also to avoid bunching. Let's turn around the fabric. This is how the scallops will look like. Now let's move ahead and press it flat and nice. Okay, we have come closer to the ending. Let's stitch the rest of the dress and show you guys the final dress reveal.